really sparse what we've been watching.
Well, I thought I was going to watch Bong Joon-ho's new Netflix movie before we did this, but I did not get a chance to do that.
Maybe that'll be next week's what we've been watching.
Perhaps.
Although I did talk about a movie. I will talk about a movie.
Is it Reed's secret viewing from last time?
No.
Oh.
No.
Did you even watch that?
What? The secret
viewing movie?
No, not yet.
Oh. All right. So this is going to be like a running thread. So this is like how after the first couple seasons of How I Met Your Mother, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, we're not going to see who the mother is until the very end." So
you are blue balling our audience, all 7 of them.
How ironic.
Was last week the ass one?
No, last week was, I think I called it just I Don't Believe in Fate.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't. No. I'm surprised that made it into the title. I thought that just would have been a statement of my...
There was honestly, there was nothing better to call it. I tried, but I couldn't come up with anything else. I wasn't going to call it UFB.
No. I mean, it's not the best, but...
Reed, there are some things that are acceptable, and some things that are not.
Yes.
Unexpected male ass is acceptable. According to this, it only has 2 views, but I don't know. Sometimes the mobile version could be unreliable. All right, that's not important.
Let me go to my internet and seek out the solution.
12 views. It has 12.
There's 12 already.
I think he's talking about Unexpected Male Ass.
Oh, Unexpected Male Ass, yes, had several views. We did okay on that one.
Ooh, 3 has
3. Yeah, I think that's just what we need to do. We just need to put ass in the title.
Can that be the title of this episode? We just need to put ass in the
title. Ass in the title.
That's here's the thing about it. Unexpected Male Ass, 13 views. I Don't Believe in Fate, 4. I think we just need to start cursing in our titles more. I think this is the key to stardom.
Well, we thought we'd found that out when we put porn in the title, but that didn't last for very long.
I think maybe they just sussed us out on what we really were. We weren't the channel that watches porn and reviews it in an academic fashion.
No matter how hard you pushed for that at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, now I look at it, I go I genuinely don't know how that would go.
I'd rather not find out. Welcome back to the Hack Fraud Show, a show where we don't talk about porn, oddly enough. Although, well, strangely, we kind of are now. Anyway, this is continuing our Summer of International Film series. We are venturing over to another continent to look at some South Korean cinema today, which should be fun.
A particular peninsula.
Yes. Fun fact, I looked at this after finishing Snowpiercer yesterday. The Criterion Collection has only put out 2 movies from South Korea, neither of which I've heard of. So, very strange. But this place is a hotbed of very interesting movies. Actually, my roommates and I were talking about this because we all watched Snowpiercer together. Like, South Korea and Hong Kong, seem to be, the only places that have mastered, making cinema that is equally, entertaining and artful, at the same time.
Yeah, and out of, tiny, tiny countries.
Yeah. Perhaps that is why.
So, yeah, maybe there's just something in the water. Who knows?
Let me tell you, if you want to find out about something in the water, go watch Bong Joon-ho's The Host, which I have seen, but we're not.
No, I'm tempted to see that now after Snowpiercer.
It's not as good. It is entertaining. I talked about that a little while ago after I watched it in a class, but it's fun. And
does it have some of the same hallmarks, or is Snowpiercer just a thing on its own?
Snowpiercer is a very unique thing. They share some elements, but they are very different movies.
You literally have a world on a train.
So granted, that concept was based off of a French comic, so.
That is true. Well, anyway, we will get to that momentarily. So, guys, what have we been watching?
jack shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I haven't. I was gonna try and see Spider-Man: Homecoming at some point, but that fell down.
Let me tell you, I did see Spider-Man: Homecoming, so I can talk about that.
Reed, why don't we talk about what you've been watching?
Okay, so I actually watched something this week. This is not this is not the film to review, but this is definitely a film I've been wanting to go back for a while. And actually, by a while, I mean when we did the Pixar episode, and Tyler recommended this movie to me to look at again. And this has been my least favorite Pixar movie, and I was able to go back to it, and now it's probably one of my favorites. This, of course, is the very neglected in my household movie, Toy Story 2. Now, it's neglected because I have Toy Story on DVD. I have Toy Story 3 on DVD, but Toy Story 2 I have on VHS.
Which spawned this philosophical concern: if one has something on a media that is outdated, does one have it at all?
If you could still watch it, yes. If
Yes,
not,
yes.
then no. That's my theory. But by the way, Reed, I liked that you held up the numbers on your fingers just to fully drive the point home. But
Yes,
go
for
on.
those of you who cannot
The
see
audio
me.
podcast for a visual world.
Yeah.
So, let me share you my thoughts of it. So, it's been a while, and I thought it was an okay movie, except for this one scene, which made me not want to ever go back. Which I'll get to this scene. It starts out as a video game of, I think, is it?
Yeah, no, it's like Buzz Lightyear's video
Buzz
game.
Lightyear's video game.
Yes.
And then there's this wild cinematic masquerade, and then game over flash on the screen, and we just who's the character that's playing the video game?
Okay, Rex is playing the game, but this happens after they blow up Buzz. Do you remember this? They have Zurg shoot Buzz. Yeah. And you're like, what the fuck?
So I remembered that. I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like, does that ever pay off? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
And one of the strangest payoffs.
Everything pays off in Toy Story 2.
That is true.
Reed, let me ask you this real quick. How long had it been since you'd watched this movie, do you think?
I had seen parts of it on TV, like a scene or two on TV within the past year. But I think me sitting down to watch it, it's been, I'm going to round up and say a decade.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, well, granted, I have no idea when I've last seen this one, but I think it's by far the Pixar movie that burned a hole in my VHS tape, so it's been burned into my subconscious forever, which is not a bad thing because it's Toy Story 2. Yeah. But yeah, sort of I will say I think this was out of granted I'm a monster, so I haven't seen 3. But out of just comparing the first two, I think I always preferred the second one because. For a kid, Toy Story 1 is kind of unpleasant. It's got it's a mean movie about some
it's
toy
not a mean movie. It's a movie about mean people and toys being mean to each other, but it's not a mean movie.
I mean, as a kid, it's a mean movie. No,
I love that
watching
movie
it now. It's oh, look at the innocent toys fighting over this.
Control and power.
Yeah.
And watch Ham and Mr. Potato Head be dicks, and they are dicks. And definitely Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2. With the infamous line, $50 ain't bad.
$50 ain't bad. I love this movie so much.
Price was so here. Yes.
So, Reed, what new? I'm guessing your perspective on this movie changed this time. So, what was the new revelations to be found in Toy Story 2?
So. What I found was that this was, out of the 3, the most ambitious movie.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was way more ambitious than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot of things more ambitious than Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Oh, yeah. But it was just as ambitious. There's a lot more payoff. one thing I noticed was that the casual Star Wars ripoffs.
From like what I remember, like this is the movie that has the like one of my favorite. I think this is the movie that has my favorite like Pixar climax, where like they're running through the airport and like there's the toys driving. Is it like the Pizza Planet car?
Yes.
And one of them's like reading the instruction manual.
No, literally, like I think like it falls out of the glove compartment onto like Ham, and he's reading it, and he's like, "Oh, I seriously doubt he's getting this kind of mileage." Oh my god!
And part of one strange eye-opening part is sort of the existence of foils. What I mean by that is foiling between characters in Woody's Roundup versus the characters in real life.
Yeah.
And there's a huge one with the Prospector and Bullseye, but not so much with Jesse and Woody, I would argue, but maybe there is. I have to take another look, but I sort of found that interesting to see. So this infamous scene that made me not watch it put a 10-decade hiatus on it, was the Emily scene.
Of course.
By the way.
I kind of figured.
Well, that was every little kid.
That was the first scene of Up of uses of Disney.
What are emotions? I don't know how to feel.
Especially when Jessie is trapped in the box overlooking her view of paradise like a prison.
This movie also has like the fascinating like Days Gone By crew. And like we have like the fascinating scene of Woody watching a show he has no knowledge of, but he's in.
That scene of Woody like finding all the Woody's Roundup merchandise, that is an incredible scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Toy Story 2, fucking good.
This was also like Reed, I think I kind of sympathize. This was also like the least viewed one in my household. Like if we were reaching for one, it would usually be the first one or the third one. And then when I went back and rewatched them, I think the last time I did, this was a couple years ago, like I discovered, oh yeah, Toy Story 2 is the best one. Because it sits at this great like midpoint between each of them where like it's still got that kind of rollicking adventure feel of the first one and a lot of the kind of bigger like themes of like growing up and moving on that really come to the and loss that really come to the fore in the third one.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the perfect middle ground.
Yeah. So, Reed, I'm glad to hear you have reappraised it and found it to be not lacking.
Yes. Part one, I now have a lot more criticisms of Toy Story 3 after seeing this, mainly in how Toy Story 3 does the two Buzz persona. Considering in Toy Story 2, there were actually two Buzz Lightyears.
Yeah.
And then in Toy Story 3, there was Buzz and Spanish Buzz.
Yeah, that joke is done much better in Toy Story 2. I still like the way they do it in Toy Story 3, if only because it's very amusing to see, like, hot Latin Buzz. But that's fun. John, you need to see the third one.
Yeah, I just need to pick out like a lazy afternoon and just blow through like the whole trilogy.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of those movies in a couple of years, so I am also kind of jonesing to revisit them soon. So
maybe on the podcast we're not going to do
probably not, but Reed, you may have started something here. So we'll see in the future. So,
Tyler, what have you been watching?
All right. Who's ready to hear about some Spider-Man movies?
Fuck yeah!
Okay. What I want to talk about first is the movie I watched before I went to see Spider-Man Homecoming, because strangely, I had never seen it. That would be Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Oh, I thought you had seen it before.
I had not. I had seen the first one, and boy, that first one has not aged very well, so I was kind of... like, I think I'm good, and but
yeah, the Green Goblin looks terrible.
Yeah.
The tone doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah, but I was like, people are constantly singing this movie's praises. Now would be a good time to watch it, so I did, and goddamn, like it's not perfect. There are definitely aspects of it that have also aged poorly, namely Tobey Maguire's acting.
Yeah.
Boy, I find it amazing that society ever signed off on him, but whatever. Anyway, this movie, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm kind of there too.
This movie has like an understanding of and like kind of explores like ordinary people's like relationship like to a superhero in a way that like no other superhero movie ever has.
And I think that's a tragedy, to be honest.
Yeah. You see Peter Parker like kind of living a life as like a regular guy, like in Manhattan, like struggling to pay the rent, having a shitty job, delivering pizza. Yeah. And like this movie, it's so interesting. Like, because like he is struggling to like balance his personal life with like being Spider-Man and everything. And like, there's a point in the middle of the movie where he just decides to quit being Spider-Man. And like, this is actually something that they kind of explore in Homecoming too, but his life is better when he's not Spider-Man. It is so weird. That's such a fascinating idea, and I love that. And so few superhero movies are willing to explore that kind of territory, which is a real tragedy. And also just like that scene of like him saving the not the freight train, but like the L train, like with the people, like I'll see his face and like the kid gives him the mask and it's like, we won't tell nobody. I love that. It's just...
I think, like, the train sequence is one of the great superhero things of, like, the new generation of superhero movies.
Yeah, it really is. And the villain is, like, not all that great. Like, I do kind of like that his plan is just, like, I'm gonna do science, and I need to commit crime to do that science. I'm kind of into that. Alfred Molina's having fun, but...
And the tentacles talk to him.
The tentacles talk to him. The tentacles make him crazy, John.
I made this chip so I can override the central brain function. Oh no, it's fried.
That is one part that does not hold up quite as well. But, you know...
Well, these movies have some goofy shit, though.
Yeah. But, you know, Kirsten Dunst is doing good work. I like her kind of take on, like, this role of, like, the superhero girlfriend. Again, it explores, like, kind of their relationship in an interesting way. And it's a good movie. It's got a lot of very interesting things that it's trying to balance. And it doesn't always succeed, but when it does succeed, it is a very interesting piece of superhero cinema.
I'm gonna say, like, I think there was a real sense of maturity from it.
Yeah.
These are characters, like, growing up, entering a new part of their life, and, like, the movie is very blunt about that.
There's, like, a 3-minute scene where, like, Peter sits down with Aunt May and tells her, like, hey, Uncle Ben's death was my fault. So fascinating.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the movie never really pays that off, but...
No.
I mean, that's more than what the first Amazing Spider-Man movie did. So.
Where do we stand on the Amazing Spider-Man?
Pretty much just terrible. I kinda, sorta like the first one, just because it's got some fun, like, moments, and I think Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield together are, like, kind of fun, but, like, on the whole, boy, those movies are not good.
Yeah, like, I struggle to remember anything from The Amazing Spider-Man that wasn't in a trailer.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, a real problem. Whereas I remember a bunch of shit from Spider-Man 2.
I think a good summary of the Amazing Spider-Man movies is what Emma Stone does at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And we'll leave it at that.
Man, those movies, it's actually interesting. I assume it would be interesting to go back and look at them now, because they were seeding, like, a Sony, like, Spider-Man cinematic universe so hard in those movies.
Like, isn't there, like, the final, like, end credit sequence where, like, they walk past all the uniforms for all the new villains we're going to see?
Oh my god. And the fact that those spin-offs just never happened just makes it so interesting.
And it gives me some hope for the future that these things can fail.
What I want is a book about like what I want Mark Harris's next book to be like behind the scenes, like at Sony, like when that was happening. Like I want to know what went on.
Like candid interviews with Mark Webb, coked off his mind, going, man, I don't know what we were doing. I don't know where it was going.
And this was like right before the hack happened too. So I want to read an oral history of Sony right around this period. I think that will be.
There has to be something out there.
I think that when that is written, that will be like one of the great like pieces of behind the scenes, like behind the curtain Hollywood ever.
Thought of that. That's fascinating.
I would love that. Boy, we got off topic. Okay. Anyway, I also saw Spider-Man: Homecoming.
And?
You know, I kind of liked it. Yeah, I was not really expecting to like this movie. I've been burned by the Marvel movies like a few too many times, and we've made no secret of our cynicism and skepticism of the Disney machine. Yeah. But
multiple times.
And let me just say this, like, this movie had to win me over. Like, it starts with like Peter Parker doing like a video diary of the events in Civil War, and I was kind of there sitting going, oh no. But this movie did win me over. Tom Holland is very charming. There's some interesting... Okay, so this movie has kind of been sold as like a high school movie featuring Spider-Man.
Yep.
No. This is a Spider-Man movie featuring high school. But I kind of like that. I kind of like the you know, any high school, any like part of a Spider-Man movie that's like a high school movie, I'm kind of into that. And honestly, the high school parts are pretty good and pretty interesting because like literally there is a part in this movie where like they're in gym class and like you see a girl playing fuck, marry, kill with the Avengers. She's like, I'd F Thor, kill Hulk, and marry Iron Man. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Who wrote this? And then there's like, one of the things that's in the trailer and like caused me like a small existential crisis is that like the Avengers are like this overbearing like patriarch.
Mm-hmm. Oh
like,
yeah.
United States government where like Captain America talks to you in detention.
Yes,
and like,
yes.
Like just like these extra governmental personalities in public schools.
And let me tell you, I love that. Like I think I texted this to you. Like this is the first Marvel movie to I think like really like make good on the whole shared universe thing. Like this is another one. Like it's odd how like this and Spider-Man 2 kind of connect in this way. Like this is another movie that like really kind of pays attention to like how superheroes affect like regular people. You know, you see like what these people like are like living in a world where the Avengers exist. And that is really pretty cool. That's an interesting idea. And I kind of liked that.
Yeah, like the Marvel like Netflix shows like did nothing with that other than like there was a joke every once in a while involving Hulk or Iron Man or something.
Right. Yeah, this movie I think really engages with that. Also, Robert Downey Jr., as you know, is in this movie as Tony Stark. It seems like he showed up on set for like 2 days. Like seriously, like there is a scene where he talks to Tom Holland like on top of a building, and like behind Tom Holland like looks all good. Looks like he was there like on top of a building. Like looks like a real skyline behind him. Robert Downey Jr. just has like green screen haze around him. Like you can tell they were not on set on the same day.
They said like, oh fucking god, you want another one of these? Alrighty, just throw up a green screen in my living room and then we'll run with it.
That's what it looked like. Not all the scenes are like that, but and to be fair, those scenes can get kind of annoying and but it doesn't feel like intrusive the way that goddamn scene with Falcon and Ant-Man felt like it was a complete like derailment of the movie.
Because like, well, sometimes like I mean, like Marvel's idea of like extended universe world building is just showing us commercials.
Yeah.
And like that, this sounds like, oh wait, it's a real world now.
Right. This movie is not that. I didn't get that feel from it. They are not trying to sell you another Iron Man movie, so that's fine. And, you know, so quibbles with this movie, I certainly have them. Like I say, I would prefer it if it were much more of a high school movie. Like, the movie's called Spider-Man Homecoming. They spend like 5 seconds at the homecoming dance. Like, it's ridiculous.
Wouldn't there be like a Harry Potter like awkward like high school homecoming?
I wanted that, and I didn't quite get it. But and also like the last action scene is like about what you would expect, like fairly generic. Like okay,
yeah. All of the CGI in the advertisements looks terrible.
Yeah. It was fine. Michael Keaton actually acquits himself pretty well. He's like, his villain is like a regular guy, which like I kind of enjoy that. That's fun. Donald Glover has a really fun cameo, which I really enjoyed. And also, though, there's like an action sequence in the middle of the movie, which was really, really good. Like, there's a scene where like they go to Washington D.C. and like some kids like get trapped like in the elevator on the Washington Monument, and like he has to save them. It's a very good like contained like set piece. I liked it a lot.
Contained set pieces? What is this?
I know.
A movie?
Insanity. But I like that. So this movie, you know, I have minor quibbles with it, but on the whole, like, pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised, and yeah. So there you go.
I still have bounds of skepticism towards it, but I will probably go and see it at some point.
I'm suspecting you will like it less than I did, but I don't think you will hate it. I hope you don't hate it.
Yeah, well, if I hate it, then we can have a fun rant on it.
Oh, so. Fun. Okay, good. That's what I've been watching, unless you did want to hear about because the Nostalgia Critic put a review of this out, I felt compelled to rewatch Cats Don't Dance. A movie that I saw very briefly, like I saw parts of it like in my childhood and like remembered it for years, and then I was like, huh, I wonder.
well, Tyler, how is it?
It's fine. The animation is fun. There's some like fun parts to it. The songs are kind of cool. It's like, it's got a fun like kind of classical Hollywood like thing going on, but like it's fine. Like I think the Nostalgia Critic like said this in his review. Like it's for kids. He even like uses the clip of he uses the clip of the Hudsucker Proxy. He's like, you know, for kids. So it's fine. Like it's not really, it's whatever. So that's that.
I do want to say, like, one last thing before we get into the main entree. Tomorrow I'm going into a Game of Thrones screening just because it's with people I like. I don't give a flying fuck about Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I want to ask this before I go into it. Why do the plebeians like Game of Thrones?
I think I can answer this.
Read, you say it.
Okay, I think there are 3 reasons why.
Sex,
so
and rock and
one
roll.
reason.
Don't just say boobs, and boobs.
No. 1, dragons. 2, sex. 3, dragon money that fuels the revenue for Last Week Tonight, which fuels ad revenue for HBO, which then fuels a base for Game of Thrones.
I was just going to say, I think it's, like, fun, kind of pulpy, like, prestige TV. Like, I legit, like, read about this. Like, I took a class where we talked about this. Like, HBO's, like, whole thing is that they, like, market themselves to people as, like, hey, we are, like, high-class television. Like, we are a sign of, like, status. So, what?
Then they have Last Week Tonight. It's just...
Well,
I mean, it's a nice show, but it's something.
Yeah, there's nothing high class about Last Week Tonight.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing.
They waste like $10,000 on wax presidents,
and then made a fake trailer with one of them.
That's a different thing. But I really do think that like people do like get a sense of like, hey, Game of Thrones is like good TV, but it's also like just like pulpy enough that it's like really fun to watch.
Because everything's grayscale, and everyone's talking about the coming doom, but like we never know what that doom is, and like I just don't get any fun out of it.
I think I can answer that. Winter.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming. That's all you need.
Listen, I went through my own thing with Game of Thrones and like eventually like kind of realized my artistic issues with it were like too much for me to go on like watching it. But I don't know, man. Like sometimes you just can't explain it. Like The Sopranos was a huge rating success, and let me tell you, that movie or that show does not seem like it's like meant to appeal to the common people at all. So
yeah, so like I'm gonna watch it tomorrow, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna see like what have I noticed, because like I know nothing about the show. Like out of like all the things that occupy my mind, I think like round near the very bottom is Game of Thrones. Like sometimes I forget it still exists.
Let me tell you, the first couple of seasons are like pretty fun. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see like what you think about it, because you're coming in on the 7th season premiere.
Yeah. Well, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, no, it's fine because I started on Downton Abbey on season 5.
Well, this is gonna be very difficult because like I'm one of those people who can't like if there's like a movie playing, like even if it's a movie I like, I will not sit down to watch it. I have to see things from the beginning, or else I just feel lost and I haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
Whereas if this, I'm just gonna like take it as like a self-contained piece of television and just see what I think.
Good luck is my response.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
It is what it is.
Shall we get to the main event here?
Yes, we shall.
Alrighty then. So, this week we examined 2 fairly recent films of South Korean cinema. That would
Back
be
to the well of 2014.
Yes, the acclaimed 2014 classic Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer, and 2003, I think?
Yeah.
Park Chan-wook's Oldboy.
Yeah. They're movies. They exist. Like, I am going to say this is like, why don't we talk about Snowpiercer more?
That is a very good question, and I don't know the answer.
Like, as I'm watching this going, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like has everything you could want from a movie.
Yeah, like, let me tell you, I've seen, like, Mad Max Fury Road, like, 6 times in the last year. I saw Snowpiercer once, and this was the second time I've seen it.
The last time I saw it was in theater.
Yeah.
So, like, I just do not know why this movie fell off the, like our cinema lexicon.
And, like, it was big when it came out. Like, everyone was, like, plenty of, like, people who never go out of their way to, like, see foreign cinema, like, saw this movie and loved it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it fell off.
Yeah, because we're gonna like it had like this like weird limited release because the Weinsteins were dicks.
Yeah,
but it had a pretty good clout coming out of it. Like a lot of like there's kind of like an underground cult.
And also
went out to see it.
And also apparently it was like a big hit on Netflix. Like when they put it up there.
Yeah, it is a big hit. Oh, goody.
So
except it's not on Netflix anymore.
Yeah, oddly, because Netflix sucks. But all right, Netflix does good work. They have BoJack Horseman, so they will have me as a customer at least until that's over. But
though, granted, like every time I've used Netflix, I realize like I just see you might like these. I'm like, fuck you, Netflix. Don't tell me what I want to watch. I'm gonna watch my weird foreign cinema, and I'm gonna fucking like it.
Yeah.
I guess like I just imagine like computers like looking at the movies I like, and like I can't wrap my head around how those algorithm works. But that's Netflix. We're here for Korean cinema.
Yes, I will say this. I think. Hang on, I'm checking this now. The Host is still on Netflix, so if you feel compelled to check that out. Anyway, all right. So, do we want to just dive into Snowpiercer?
Let's go, man. Let's go. I'm fucking thrilled for this.
This movie is a goddamn masterpiece.
I'm utterly speechless. Like, what do you say about a pretty perfect movie?
This movie is so great. You are thrown like right into it. Like, there's an over the opening credits, you get like just kind of scattershot like audio explaining like, hey, we tried to solve global warming. Oops, we froze the world by accident. Now everyone
like stock footage of like chemtrails and
now the remaining people, now the remnants of humanity are all on board this train that circles the globe.
This fucking train is a masterpiece of world building.
It's so incredible. It is so incredible. So we start at the back of the train with Chris Evans as Curtis and his gang of fellow rebels planning to stage a revolt to get to the front of the train. And you also are introduced to Tilda Swinton as Minister Mason. God damn it. Tilda Swinton.
Delightful performance.
It's so incredible. She is great. I love her and everything, but she is just doing God's work here.
I mean, the costume work for her character is amazing, also.
And like a weirdly darkly comic character. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's what you find in like all like the authority figures in the movies. That there's like a dark comedy to all of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I think Bong Joon-ho like kind of, and you see this in The Host too. Like he has a very kind of weird like undercurrent of dark humor that like runs through all his movies, or at least the ones that I've seen.
Which makes them feel human.
Right, very much so. So yeah, so they you also have John Hurt as Gilliam, as like a half prosthetic like man who just kind of hobbles around on like steampunky limbs.
They build for this movie, it is just really difficult to elaborate, like just how lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And how real this, like, especially like the tales section, like you have characters like the artist who like takes like soot on like wax paper and draws like all the people, and like the fucking punishment that come up for people who go out of line is just so particular.
Yeah. Hey, fun fact: do you know who that actor is? They freeze his arm and chop it off? Do you know who that actor is?
I can't remember.
Maggie! He's that guy from Naked.
From what?
From Naked. In Naked, there's like this Scottish actor who just runs around yelling the whole time. That's the guy.
He's doing good work in this movie.
He's doing good work in this movie. Let me just say, that first like big action scene, like when they get ready to like charge forward, where Chris Evans just walks forward, like grabs the gun, like puts it to his forehead, pulls the trigger, click. They've got no bullets! And then so like incredible.
And like, you get this sort of like almost like war, like we're almost in a World War II movie, and we have the battering ram, and we're running down the corridor.
It's so incredible. Like, and it takes like a good like 15 minutes for the rebellion to get going. Like, you are on the edge of your seat. Like, when is this gonna burst? Like,
and like there was kind of like they're like, let's wait, like, because they keep getting like these little bullets, and because they all they eat in the tail section is like protein blocks, which look like giant slabs of gummy bears or something like that.
And they're made from bugs. Like
they're made from cockroaches, which is big. Like, oh no, what are you doing to us? And like they open them up inside there. Sometimes they'll find bullets, and they'll like be like this red message.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we need to wait for the messages, and the movie just throws you in. Like, it does not explain that for a second. It's just like, boom, here it is. This is the world.
Yeah, and that's great, man. And then we go into this whole new thing where they're just charging forward through the train, and man. The cars that they go into. Although, actually, I forgot. Then there's another, like, 10-minute action sequence where, like, they have to fight in the dark and, like, my God.
That may be the best action scene I've seen in a long fucking time.
It's so good. It's so
good. The moment where, like, you get the light passes through and then he goes, matches.
Yeah.
And then you just see, like, we go pitch black and you hear a match being lit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, we're now in the back of the train and we got charging with torches as they run, because now the battering ram is kind of serving as a way to get them to the front of the train. Mm-hmm. And then you see them running across it with the torches.
Next time, South Korea hosts the Olympics, they should do something like that, where they have Bong Joon-ho direct it with the Olympic torch. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then like the fight, and then like right after that, you get this like unbelievable, like sparks fly everywhere. And we just get like these wonderful, wonderful compositions. And then, like, that's also the same scene where, like, they pause everything for a kind of quasi-Christmas truce. Because, they mark years on this train by, like, passing a certain bridge. Because, like, it's this train that goes around the world.
Right.
And so, it takes 1 year to get around.
It takes 1 year. And so, like, they have, like, this little, like, mini truce where they observe the bridge and say Happy New Year while throwing up their hatchets.
Yes.
And, like, Tilda Swinton gives a little speech.
Yeah, that's great. And also, like, in that sequence, there's a great, like, character moment. Like, Chris Evans has to make a choice between, like, saving his lieutenant and, like, capturing Tilda Swinton. And he captures Tilda Swinton, and his lieutenant dies. And it's like, holy shit, like, this movie is going there.
Like, this movie, like, really stresses, like, decisions these characters make have fucking consequences.
Yeah. Reed, this was your first time seeing this movie, correct?
Yes.
All right.
What'd you think?
This is a movie. This is a movie.
Fucking movie, this thing.
Fucking movie.
I'm shocked, honestly, how much I enjoyed it the second time around.
Yeah.
And then, like, because it's kind of just difficult not to describe it, like, as the whole thing goes forward. We then get, like, some, like, fascinating, like, the first class of the train.
Yeah.
Which is, like, there's an aquarium where there's a sushi bar, there's, like, this little tomato garden.
Yeah.
There's, like, saunas.
Can we just...
And, like, everyone's wearing, like, these sort of twisted Hunger Games-esque, like, boring 20s abominations.
Yeah. The design of this movie is just so incredible.
There's not a single world like this one.
Also, can we just talk about that classroom scene? Where you have Alison Pill playing, like, an elementary school teacher and, like... educating the kids.
The most psychotic elementary school teacher you've ever seen.
Educating the kids in, like, the cult of, like, the train conductor.
Yeah. What happens if the engine dies? We all freeze and die.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's so fucking fun.
It's so incredible to just have, like, such a weird, just blackly comic scene just shoved in the middle of this movie.
Yeah, like weird, like, Stalinist, like, social commentary just for a brief moment. And, like, the fascinating, like, cult of Wilson, and they see, like, a propaganda video on little TVs they have. Yeah. And you have the spinning organ in the middle. It is just so particular. It's just hard not to get wrapped up in it.
Yeah. And then there's also the New Year eggs that come around, and then it's like, oops, there are Uzis. And then it jumps cut to a shot of the teacher with an Uzi in hand, shooting tailenders down.
This teacher is also pregnant, by the way. I don't think we mentioned that.
Really, fucking, we're a few days from term pregnant.
Yeah.
But then dies.
So, I will say this: my maybe one complaint about the movie is that, like, the kind of the like climax of it goes on, like, a little too long. Like, you get to the front of the train and, like, they find Ed Harris waiting in the front of the train, and then there's, like, 7 minutes of Ed Harris, like, whispering, like, dark, like, things, like doing, like, the Satan thing, like, into Chris Evans's ear, and it's like, okay, I kind of get the point here. Like, I think we don't need quite so much of this.
Yeah, well, we get, like, 7 minutes of, like, Ed Harris philosophizing, like, this closed ecosystem and, like, humanity's last gasp. But, like, the ending of the movie is them blowing up the train, so it all means nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, like, 7 minutes of, like, weird, interesting philosophy. And I could enjoy it for weird, interesting philosophy, but eventually it just means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, Chris Evans doesn't make really any decision other than, like, he loses his arm in, like, some kind of circular thing.
Well,
from what he said earlier.
Well, I was gonna say, I was a little shocked that they actually blew up the train and it took everyone down, because I was sitting there going, oh, wow, this is really a fuck you ending.
This is an ending where, like, all of humanity is dead, but 2 people, they see a polar bear, and it ends.
I mean, the polar bear is a nice touch because you realize, oh wait, life isn't dead.
Yeah.
There is life.
But they're dead.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of love that though. Like it's like
I love it too.
that's all fine. I also love like the movie is really just like barreling towards the finale, and then they like pause like right before they get to the front card, and Chris Evans gives this incredible monologue about how like back before they like developed the protein blocks, like they had to eat each other to survive, and he's like, I know what people taste like. I know that babies taste the best. It's like, oh my god.
John Hurt cut off its arm to prevent me from eating a child.
Yeah.
And that child grew up to be my second lieutenant.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. I love all that. So, minor complaints aside, like this is a goddamn great movie.
It's the perfect action movie. Like I am convinced of like the set pieces are unbelievable. The world is just so rich and fulfilling. The philosophy of it is like it's not anything new, but they take such a particular and interesting spin on it.
Yeah.
That it's just kind of hard not to get wrapped up in it. So yeah, like I think I fucking love this movie. This was an absolute fucking ride.
Yeah. It was like watching it for the first time again. Partly because I'd forgotten quite a few of the twists and turns.
Which I find so strange. Well, no, like I remembered like granted like the
I remember the
experience
broad strokes, but
yeah, well, the thing about it was, like, it was kind of an experience just going to see it, because, like, the Easton AMC was the only was the only theater showing it around here. So, like, me, Alex, and Matthew trekked down there, and, like, it took, like, 30 minutes for us to find a parking spot, and Alex was going bonkers because he was driving. And we got in there, like, I pray to God this thing is good, because I dragged him down here to see it. And it's now Alex's favorite movie. That was a fucking trip of a screening, and goddamn it, it's every bit as good now as it was then.
Yes, I agree.
If you're ever burned by Chris Evans doing bland Captain America, then here he is at this shit.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen Sunshine?
No, I haven't.
The Danny Boyle movie. That's a really fascinating movie. That also has another great Chris Evans performance.
Okay, I didn't know he was in that.
He's in that.
I've heard like the last like act of that movie is just garbage, but like the first two acts are like so incredible that it almost like doesn't matter. At least that's what Quentin Tarantino said.
From what I remember, like the last act, it's a movie about exploration, but then like in the last act, it just goes all hog wild on ideas of God, in like a really sudden way. But granted, like it doesn't come out of nowhere. It just goes and like it just finally just fucking like runs with it. But yeah, it's something. Sunshine's an interesting movie.
Okay, interesting. Perhaps we'll talk about that at some point. Reed, any closing thoughts on Snowpiercer?
Yes, I did think that they underused Tilda Swinton.
She died much earlier in the movie than I remembered. Yeah. I think just because she's such a presence.
Oh yeah, well, Tilda Swinton just in general is such a presence. I know, like I actually kind of like that because like there's like a really consistent world here, and like she shows to be two-faced once, and they kill her.
Right.
There was like an internal brutality to this world that like if you keep around Tilda Swinton, you kind of dead. Yeah. So like I am fine with like killing off some wonderful character in favor of this wonderful world.
Yes, and what was that drug called?
Chrono?
Chronos? Or
Chrono.
Something? Chrono.
Yeah.
The shit to get high, and then he makes a fucking bomb out of it.
The brick of C4 lights it, and then kills off humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie.
Probably one of my favorite action sequences was after the New Year's scene, and the Snowpiercer was reaching a huge loop, and so there was a shootout across the loop.
Yeah, yes. It's kind of like this like horseshoe curve.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, like okay, the fucking set pieces in this movie are just something to be marveled at.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Snowpiercer, we can't say enough nice things about it.
It's so true.
But regardless, Reed, did you actually see Oldboy?
I did not. No.
Oh boy. You missed a ride, my friend.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so Oldboy.
All right, Park Chan-wook's
2003.
Oldboy. All right, let me just say this real quick. This director, Park Chan-wook Park, whatever, directed my favorite movie of last year, which was The Handmaiden, which was this almost 3-hour like period drama like about lesbians in Japan, in like Korean lesbians in Japan, like during World War II. Not World War II. Maybe it was World War II. I don't know. Anyway, great movie. I think you would enjoy it a lot. But
yeah, it sounds like a lot of my favorite things. So,
but Oldboy, 2003. So.
This is another, like, a movie that just fucking starts with a bang.
Yeah. So you immediately meet, what's his name? Oh Dae-soo, who is just, like, basically just a drunken asshole at the start of the movie.
Yeah. There's, like, this, like, jump cut heavy sequence where he's, like, misbehaving in a police cell.
Yeah. His friend comes and picks him up. You see him on the phone, like talking to his wife and his daughter. He's like, "I'll be home soon." Steps out of the phone booth, disappears. Cut to, he's imprisoned in a like cell that resembles a hotel room for 15 goddamn years. And
yeah, and he's trapped with a TV. Like they put gas into his room to make him sleep. They only give him fried dumplings, and like it becomes like this fascinating parallel to like his only way to see the world is through the TV, and he sees like his wife get murdered and like history roll on without him.
Yeah. So weird. And then like he is unexpectedly released after 15 years.
Like he starts like this wild like multi-year escape plan, but then like right as he's about to get out, they just put him in a suitcase and leave him on the top of a building.
Yeah, and then he just embarks on this crazy odyssey to like figure out who did this to him and why.
Yeah.
And let me just say, I love this about the movie is that like there are a few instances where like you think this character is about to like do something badass, like dig his way out of his prison cell and like go on the run. And then like the villains of it like just kind of let him go or like solve his problem for him, and he is just kind of like left impotent basically.
Yeah, like this is a character that never has free will. That like every action he takes is like perfectly orchestrated.
Yeah.
In like just a really interesting way, because just how psychotic these people are is just something to behold, honestly.
Yeah, it's a real like, and this director is good at this because The Handmaiden is this way too. It's a real like twisty, turny, like playing with time and perspective kind of movie.
Yeah, like I am just really curious about like how this like plays a second time around, because like so much about it is based on like twists, but like they're good, but they're the good kind of twists because they reveal things about character.
Yeah, it's so weird, but also like the action sequences in this movie are also like pretty fucking good. There's like this long take of him just like going down a hallway, like hitting people and taking people out like with a hammer.
Yeah.
That's a legitimately badass moment.
And that's like kind of like the quoted thing of the movie. It's like that hallway scene.
But God, there's just so much more like going on in this movie.
The fucking filmmaking is just so unbelievable. Like it's got like this really distorted wide angle view of everything.
Yeah. And he does this interesting technique where he'll like show you something that happens like after the scene, like you are like kind of already watching. Like he'll intercut like a scene where they're talking about what will happen next, and also like he's showing you what happens next at the same time.
There's like this like there's kind of like this weird like sort of parallel structure to all the scenes.
Yeah.
And like how like sometimes I think there's like one point like to show you. There's also another point like the show you like him like tasting all the fried dumplings.
Yeah.
And like he'll one shot he'll be putting it into his mouth, but then we jump cut to another restaurant, and then another one.
Mm-hmm.
and like there's like this really strange montage. You know, that there was a lot of economy of storytelling.
Yeah.
In this movie. Like, I'm honestly, like, really surprised just how quick he gets out of the prison. You would think that'd be, like, this huge, like, time-consuming thing in the movie, but he kind of gets out. What is, like, the first 20 minutes he's out?
Yeah, like, first 20 minutes, like, he's out, and then the whole rest of the movie is just, like, this crazy, twisty, like, mystery thriller, and it's really good, man. Like, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit, despite the fact that it is very disturbing.
I know, I was kind of just sort of, like, granted, maybe I was just too tired while watching it, but sort of, I was kind of just left in like a sort of daze. Where I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I like it, but what is it? What does it mean?
Yeah.
What am I watching?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of struggling. Like, I guess like the only sort of idealistic thing I can render from it is this sort of like idea of past selves and. Strangely enough, it becomes a movie about redemption, of all things.
Yeah, kinda. And it also, like, I think the directors talked about this, like, it's a weird kind of, like, retelling, spoiler alert, of Oedipus in a weird way.
Yeah.
It kind of a role reversal, which is very strange. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there is a lot in there about kind of, like, reforming yourself and, like, how you kind of, like, what's required to, like, really make a person change.
And like the person you were, and like, are you held captive by that personality? Can you move on?
Right.
And like, there's like, because like the villain's plan is all about just like showing this character his past in all its imperfection,
right?
And just like rendering him impotent by it.
Yeah. And I love that idea where he's like it turns out like he's persecuting him because of this thing from his past, and he's like, I didn't erase your memory of it. Like, you just forgot. Like, it didn't even affect you. Like, so you just forgot. Like, and that's so interesting, like, to think about, like, you know, going through your life and, like, all the people you affect, like, without even necessarily, like, knowing it. Like, I kind of love that idea.
Oh, yeah, that's utterly fascinating.
And in this movie, that's just communicated in the most disturbing way possible.
Like, this has a scene where, like, people get their teeth removed in unflinching detail. Like, our main character cuts out his tongue.
Oh, my God.
And, like, it's also, like, this is another movie just, like, full of details. Like, the character says, I have a pacemaker in my heart. I told them that they give me an off switch for $100,000 so I could kill myself at any time.
Right.
You're like, you can either get your revenge or know the truth. You cannot obtain both.
Right. Oh, man. This movie's a goddamn ride. It is.
There is no other movie like this.
Yeah.
Like, I am genuinely like, what else is like this? I mean, like, other than, like, the Spike Lee remake.
I heard that was terrible, so I'm in no rush to see that. But
never mind.
This movie is so, like, determined to, like, deny both its protagonist and the audience, like, any real sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, like just when you think, like, aha, this character has got his revenge, then we hear tapes of him bonking his daughter. Is that what that is? Man.
Yeah. And the final reveal, like, I kind of saw it coming because I was kind of like, there must be a reason, like, they kept him in prison for exactly 15 years and then let him go. I was kind of like, oh, man, I hope this isn't. Oh, no. Oh, no.
That was just I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
What is this movie? I like it, but what is it?
Wait, what happens?
He fucks his daughter, basically.
Into fucking his own daughter.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And I think it's implied that he's the one who deflowers her.
I don't want to think about that. This movie is not for the faint of heart, but if you could stomach it, it is a movie unlike any other, and it is wild, and I really like it.
Because Tyler told me, like, oh, this movie's not for the faint of heart. It's like, I've heard the plot synopsis. I know what
I love that. Like, getting those texts from you, you were like, I know the general plot. I think I know what I'm getting. Like, 2 hours later, I did not know what I was getting.
I have underestimated Oldboy.
Yeah.
Because you just can't see the decisions in this movie coming.
Yeah, it's
There's nothing about this movie where I'm like, aha, I saw that coming from the beginning.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm kind of just left speechless by the ending credits roll, and I'm like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
What is it?
How do I go back to my life now?
Yeah, just sort of this moment of I'm honestly really excited to see it again at some point, just so I can piece it all together, because there was a fucking ton of setups and payoffs in this movie.
Yeah.
And they just whiz by you at such velocity.
Yeah. So Oldboy, also pretty fucking great.
They were right.
Yeah.
They were right.
They were right. Wow. What a week, guys.
The Korean episode is a success.
A success. Thank God, too. We needed this.
I was excited for this week.
Yeah. So anyway, what do we want to do next time?
How do we follow this up? Oh, goodness. Do we dive deeper into Asian cinema? Because, didn't the Vidiots themselves recommend you some, Hong Kong action movies?
They recommended some stuff. We might do that later. I think that might be a good option to, close out the series. But, we could just do another Korean episode. Because Bong Joon-ho did this other movie that I kind of wanted to see called Memories of Murder.
Oh, so you just want to do more Bong Joon-ho?
Well, we could do that, and then there's this other Korean movie that was very acclaimed that I think will be very different. Called, it's from this director named Kim Kai-duk, I think. And apparently this movie is very different from his usual work. It's only 103 minutes. Okay. It's called Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring.
So it's like Vivaldi Four Seasons, but then an extra spring is thrown at the end because you like spring so much.
Exactly like that.
I guess. Oh, and apparently these both came out the same year. Ooh, boy, 2003 was a banger year for South Korean cinema, apparently.
So we're doing Memories, what is it, Memories of Murder and...
Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring.
Isn't Memories of Murder the one that's kind of loosely based off the Zodiac killings?
Sort of. Not exactly that, but it's based on another kind of true life serial killer in South Korea, I think. This is exciting. I'm excited to see another Bong Joon-ho.
Oh yeah, and I'll try to watch, what the fuck is his Netflix movie called again?
Okja.
Okja.
OKJA. I also would like to watch that at some point, so...
It's got more Tilda Swinton.
Oh, yes.
What more could we ask?
What more could we ask for? All right. So we will see you next week with Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder and Kim Kai-duk's Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring. More South Korean movies.
I'm excited.
I'm excited, too.
And as I say, 감사합니다. Thank you.
Yes. Sure.
Yes.
I don't know anything in Korean, so that's that.
That was thank you.
Vice documentary, you fat fuck.
No, I took Taekwondo for 5 years, and I learned quite a bit of Korean. Unfortunately, that's one of the few words I remember.
Well, granted, I lived in the Netherlands for 2 years, and I know zero Dutch. So.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which. Are we gonna have to do Lars von Trier at some point? Because I'm afraid.
I'm interested to talk about Melancholia.
Have you seen Melancholia?
I haven't.
Okay.
But I'm really interested to talk about it.
Daniel really wants us to see Antichrist, and I am not sure I want to go down that road. Hoo boy, indeed.
Maybe you can drag that boy back onto the podcast. We can talk about Antichrist.
We'll see. Okay. I think
we're writing a lot of checks we can't cash.
Yeah. I think after this episode, I kind of want to do Fellini, maybe.
Yeah. Because I want to get back to Fassbender at some point.
Yes. I do want to do that too. A lot of good stuff coming up. Also, there's this filmmaker from France who has been working for he's a more recent filmmaker. His name is Olivier Assayas. They talked about one of his movies on the latest Vidiots. I'm not even sure if I pronounced that name correctly. He made Clouds of Sil Maria, and Personal Shopper, which came out this year, both starring Kristen Stewart, and a couple of other things. So I'd be interested in doing an episode about him at some point.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I would be too. Granted, like I also kind of want to do, because I think, have any of y'all seen a Michelle Haneke film?
I have not, so that could also be interesting.
He's a really interesting filmmaker.
Okay. Can we not do The Piano Teacher? Because I've read about that, and I think that might scar us even more than Naked.
Have to do The Piano Teacher.
Okay. Maybe we could do a more or something. Okay.
Cachet is fascinating.
Oh boy. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. More checks. All the checks.
All the checks. So before...
Wait.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, since this is a teenage Spider-Man movie. So is the webbing made of semen?
No, Reed. The webbing is not made of semen. In fact, you see him making the webbing in chemistry class. That's kind of fun.
Okay.
High school movie. But that's not what I want to talk about first. I will say this.
Every time I see that, I always think, it's the one.
All right, Reed, is this acceptable by you? I can't tell because you're completely shrouded in shadow.
Yeah, for a moment I thought you would signed out because Tyler's shirt is black, and whenever he was talking, you just disappear from reality itself.
I mean, there's still a window there.
There is the window there.
Well, yes, the window's there, but the tiny little there we are. We now have fucked up color.
Ooh boy!
Why does everything you shoot look like it has desaturated colors, Reed? Did you fuck up your brick?
No. The brick came fucked up.